What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, life, love, and all that other shit. I have a good topic for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who do not know me, I am award-winning author KeKe Chanel, as well as lifestyle blogger and a certified life coach who specializes in personal growth and mindset. I believe that the way we think changes the dynamics of the way that we have life and experience it in a whole. So it all starts in the mind. My podcast is all about enhancing the importance of positive personal development. I decided to turn my blog, which I began in 2017, which I still operate today, on WordPress.com. So you guys, please go to WordPress and check out your girl and enjoy the content that I am creating. I believe that it's great content. The launch of this podcast has been so overwhelming with anxiety, but in a good way, because I've never, ever felt more passionate about anything in my life besides writing. That is my purpose. I believe that this podcast is aligned to my purpose. And I know that I am here to help people grow in some way. Let's go ahead and get into today's topic. Today's topic is, let's talk it out. Learning how to communicate with people who are in your life. We all know that communication can be a hard process, especially when you're dealing with people who are not communicators. It can be kind of hard, bittersweet, but I believe that the way that we communicate, it determines how we get a response or reaction to the people that we're trying to communicate with. I believe that it's all about tone and delivery. Think about it. When you did something wrong or you made a mistake and someone scolded you or whatever, how did that make you feel? Do you feel small? Did you feel like they were trying to put you down, make you feel like you were beneath them? Did they make you feel like you were an idiot in a sense? So I believe that we didn't like that. We didn't like that. Let's just put that out there. We don't like to be looked at as a certain way. We don't like to be made to feel a certain way. So it's the same thing with communication. I believe that it all starts with our tone and our delivery. You catch more flies with honey than the other thing. We all know that. So we have to regard the other person's feelings when we're trying to communicate. And that starts with how we come at them, because most often than not, people are more receptive to you communicating with them in a way that is beneficial to their overall being. Meaning that if you come at them in the right way, the conversation is going to go in a positive way, in a positive direction. If not, we already know. We've been there. So you have to be respectful. You have to be respectful first to yourself, to know that, you know what, I need to have this conversation. It needs to be out of love. It needs to be out of respect. And it needs to be me being the bigger person, especially if it's something that is going to touch on something that's not a good topic or a pleasant topic, I should say. So we have to be respectful of that person. We have to be respectful of ourselves. We also have to be mindful that not everybody is a communicator. Not everybody was taught how to communicate, and not everybody is comfortable with being a communicator. You know, just because we like to talk, because I like to talk. I hence the podcast. You know, I like to talk, and I know that I am around people who don't like to talk, and not everybody can convey in words their feelings. Sometimes actions speaks louder than words, and sometimes people may have to write down what they want to say. So we have to be mindful of that We have to meet people where they are in life when it comes to every aspect, not just when it comes to communication. So tone and delivery matters. Being respectful matters. Being mindful of the other person, where they're at in life, or the things that they have encountered in their life, that plays a part in their communication or lack thereof. We also have to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. Like, how would we want someone to approach us? How would we want someone to come at us? And how would we want someone to treat us when it comes to communicating? And effective communication is pivotal, 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 pivotal. Y'all, that word has my tongue tied today. Oh my God. What is going on with me in that word? But anyway, I could laugh about it because, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all see the video. So y'all go over to my YouTube channel, Kicking It with KeKe, and you get to see the behind the scenes of this podcast. I am not editing it out because I would love to see, get y'all's response of this episode. Right. So back to learning how to communicate with the people that are in your life effectively. I like to give tips. Y'all already know I like to give tips because I'm a life coach and that's what I do. So I want to give a couple tips of how to communicate effectively. First of all, find a place where both of all parties involved are comfortable. That could be in your house, that could be outside the house, that could be, in your favorite spot if it's a spouse or a significant other. If it's best friends, just go to somewhere that you're both comfortable being. And so that creates an atmosphere that's not hostile. It's not hostile. It's not someplace that you are familiar with only. So just find a place where all parties involved feel like they're in a safe space. The second one is check your tone. Before you even sit down to say hello, check your tone. If you ride together, check your tone before you even get to the place where y'all going. If you're meeting there, check your tone before you even say hello to the person, because body language is a dead giveaway. And tone and bad body language causes the other person to automatically put their guard up. So nothing good will come from the conversation because everybody is on edge. I cannot hide my facial expressions, guys. They always tell on me. And that can be a blessing and a curse because sometimes your facial expressions, they give away your answer without you having to speak because you are baffled at some of the shit that you see or hear. And so your face is like, what the hell? And so you don't have to verbalize it. But so, yeah, just check your tone and facial expressions. Speak with compassion with the other person. Like, a lot of people lack compassion. And I've talked about this on the blog a few times. I've talked about it on the podcast a few times, practicing self-compassion, because when we have self-compassion for ourselves, it's automatically a given to someone else. So speak with compassion to the person that you need to communicate with. And I promise you that will cause that chip on their shoulder or that defense mechanism, a defensive stance or behavior to loosen up, if not just altogether die. Show love in your approach. Anything done in love should be as genuine and as positive as possible. Y'all have heard that saying, love isn't supposed to hurt. And that's just not when it comes to being physically hurt or mentally hurt. That's with communication as well, you guys. We have to make sure that we love the people enough who we are trying to have a conversation with, that we put ourselves in their shoes, that we show compassion toward them, and that we check our tone and facial expression so that we are not perceived as hostile or a bully. Yes, a bully. The conversation bully. Dang. I can see how that can come into play because I've been a conversation bully. I've been bullied by someone having a conversation. I really have. So show love in your approach. And then always be kind. Practice kindness. Kindness never hurt anybody. Kindness is not, something that we should be ashamed of. I don't think that people practice kindness too much, if I'm being honest, in this world. So we all have to make sure that we are kind. There are 3 pivotal things to effective communication, in my opinion. And the first one is we always have to listen with intention. And that means that we simply have to make sure that we are listening to get out of the conversation something meaningful, something powerful, and something that resonates with us to help us see the other person's point of view or perspective. We also have to listen to hear. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of us listen to speak, and everything that the person is pouring out from their heart and their soul goes straight out the window because you're not really listening. We're just trying to respond because I want to get my point across. Forget what you say. I ain't worrying about what you say. No, we have to make sure that we're listening to hear what the other person is saying and not just listening to talk. And the third one, we have to listen to comprehend. Communication is one thing, but if you are having a conversation with someone and they don't comprehend what you're trying to convey, and vice versa, what's the point? What's the point of having a conversation? It's pointless. It really is. It's pointless. And you will leave from the conversation just as on edge or pissed off as you were in the beginning. We have to realize, guys, that when we have people in our lives who we love and they love us, there should be nothing off limits when it comes to effectively communicating with each other. And if we don't know if we don't know that and learn how to do that, we lose some of the best people that are supposed to be in our life for a lifetime. A lot of people have communication misconstrued to, being taught that just because you know how to talk at someone does not mean that it is communication. And the point being is a lot of the older generation feels like, because of their age, that they are entitled to speak to you in a certain way, in a certain manner. It's almost like they don't regard you as a human being because they still see you as a child. No, ma'am, and no, sir. You have to give respect to get respect. And age does not make you wise, although age should bring some wisdom. Not always the case. And it's the same thing with communication. You could be an effective communicator with everybody at your job or everybody from your school or what have you. And then your home life suffers because your people feel like you talk at them and not to them. So we have to keep in mind that there are different levels to communication. You have people that are very blunt. You have people who are very timid. You have people who are fragile. You have people who just don't give a damn and they don't want to communicate one way or the other. We all have to respect that. We have to respect that enough to say, I understand that you've been hurt in the past when it comes to communication, but let's try again. I want to meet you where you are, and we figure out what ways that we can communicate effectively so that we all can get something positive from the conversations that need to be had, because conversations need to be had, especially in this day and time that we live in. We have to have those hard conversations. They are not pretty. They are not supposed to make us comfortable. Life happens, and life can be an ugly process, especially when you're raising kids and you have to have that communication and that level of dialogue open so that they won't be led astray by friends, peer pressure, social media, and all this kind of stuff, because that does impact the way that they see life and the way that they will go on and live their lives to a certain extent. I mean, we shouldn't do ourselves a disservice by ignoring the fact that, I have a soon-to-be teenage son, and he's starting to identify with, okay, this girl is cute. Oh, I like her, or whatever. So he's going to be dating soon. I can't be that parent like, oh, no, I'm not going to talk to him about dating until he makes 16. Come on now. We all know we was once 16. I know I was 16. I had my first kiss when I was 11, I think. Yeah, 11. Listen, mind your business. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But we have to make sure that we let our kids know that they can come to us and communicate with us, because there is always somebody sitting behind a computer screen who is waiting to get inside the kid's head. We hear about it every day. And it's sad, but you have predators that just don't give a damn about anybody, not even themselves. So they will, try their best to get kids to trust them. And then we all know, we've all heard stories. So my whole message for today is make sure that you know how to effectively communicate with the people in your life. Meet them where they are. Use discretion if you have to. Check your tone and delivery. Always be respectful. Be mindful of where they're at in life, because you may be up here and they may be right here. But that doesn't mean that you're better than them, especially when it comes to communication. Put yourself in their shoes and, treat them with compassion. Show compassion, show love, find a place that everyone is comfortable with having a conversation. Order a few drinks, sodas or water if you have kids that you need to talk to, or if you have people in your life who are not drinkers or whatever, get them a ginger ale. In the Black community, ginger ale cures everything. That's what Big Mama said. That's what Mama said. Hey, that's gospel. Not. But y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all get it. I just want to make sure that you guys are effectively communicating to the best of your ability. And when I'm giving you guys tips, I'm talking to myself as well. It hits me before I share it out, because I would be a hypocrite if I tried to pour into you guys' lives in a positive way and I neglect myself, or if I tell you to do something and I do the complete opposite. These things, when it comes to sharing the content on my podcast, are things that I'm passionate about, are things that I know that we need to have more conversations about. And as long as I have breath in my body and God gives me different topics to speak about, I promise that I would deliver these topics to the best of my ability in the most positive and simple way possible. Because, growing up, yeah, I had individuals that talked to me, but for the most part, we kids were meant to be seen and not heard, or if grown folks came to visit, you had to be out of sight. You couldn't sit around listening to grown folks' business. So we were almost treated as property instead of individuals. And I thank God for establishing a friendship with my parents at a young age, where they laugh at me now because they say, KeKe, you just say anything. You know, you just don't care what you say. And they're not offended when I have to curse a little bit, or I feel like I need to have a conversation with them, because I check my tone and my delivery. And I am a calm person. Now, I can get a little irate at times, but the more that I grow and evolve into the person that I know that God has called me to be, I don't take that approach anymore. So every day should be a learning experience, and every day should be a growing experience. And if we're not doing that, then there's something that we need to check mentally and start over. It's okay to start over, and it's okay to ask for help. You know, if you can't communicate that out loud, write it down on paper. Sometimes we get our points out better if we write them down, if we're not a communicator. So don't be opposed to writing something down and passing it along, but at least try to communicate if you're not a communicator. So that is today's topic, guys. Learning how to communicate with the people in your life in an effective way. On a personal note, if I could tell my younger self something about communication right now, I would say, don't be afraid to speak your mind, but make sure that you do it in a respectful way. Because I was one of those people that didn't care if I hurt someone's feelings back in the day. I just needed to release it because I held on to so much stuff back then. I held on to pain that people said and the words that hurt me. I held on to that. And so I would tell my younger self, don't hold on to that. Speak your mind, but do it in a way where people will see that they hurt you and understand that, because you're coming at them in a way that they are comprehending what you're trying to say. So that's what I would tell my younger self right now in this moment. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, life, love, and all that other shit. Until next time, guys, just be inspired and be encouraged. Make sure that you love people and love on yourself. I will see you guys back next time.